Shakur was shot 4 times after leaving the Mike Tyson boxing match in Las Vegas in a car driven by Marion Suge Knight, the head of his label, Death Row Records. The shots were fired from a Cadillac that drove up alongside Knight's BMW, but police still have no leads on a suspect or motive. Tupac had been on a respirator in the hospital and had 1 lung removed. Here's a look back on a turbulent life and career cut short.
September 7th, 1996, Las Vegas. The world was about to lose Tupac Shakur, one of hip-hop's brightest stars, in a hail of bullets. Riding beside him that fateful night was Marion Suge Knight, the larger-than-life co-founder of Death Row Records. But was Suge just a witness to tragedy, or did he play a deeper role in the events that led to Tupac's death? Today, we're diving into the last 24 hours of Tupac's life, investigating Suge Knight's involvement in the theories that have haunted hip-hop for nearly 3 decades. Buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and let's uncover the truth.
Where do you see yourself in 20 years from now?
If God give me breath for 20 more years, I see myself changing the world. Because my thought patterns are so opposite of what's the norm.
Really?
So I would have to change the world, or I have to be changed by the world.
Let's set the scene. It's late afternoon on September 7th, 1996, and Tupac is in Las Vegas with Suge Knight and their Death Row entourage. They're staying at the lavish Luxor Hotel, gearing up for the Mike Tyson versus Bruce Seldon fight at the MGM Grand. Suge, a towering figure in the rap game, is Tupac's boss, mentor, and some say his puppet master. Their relationship is complex. Suge bailed Tupac out of prison in 1995 for $1.4 million, signing him to death row in exchange. But by 1996, cracks are showing. Tupac's frustrated, reportedly arguing with Suge over money, feeling he's being shortchanged despite all eyes on me selling millions.
There's a report earlier this week in the New York Post that Tupac was looking to leave Death Row Records. Is that true?
You should answer that. You don't take a person like Tupac who, if you listen to every song on All Eyes on Me, every song on Machiavelli, every time he do an interview, what's the first thing he say? Death Row. Tupac loved Death Row. Tupac loved me, I loved him. If you'd asked Tupac that question, that was he planning on leaving Death Row, he definitely would have cussed you out.
Around 8:30 p.m., trouble brews at the MGM Grand. After Tyson's quick knockout, one of Suge's associates, Trevon Trey Lane, spots Orlando Anderson, a Southside Crips member, in the lobby. Lane had a prior run-in with Anderson, who allegedly tried to rob him months earlier. Tupac, loyal to his crew, confronts Anderson, throwing a punch that sparks a brawl. Suge and the Death Row entourage join in, beating Anderson before security breaks it up. This fight, caught on MGM surveillance, sets off a chain reaction. Many believe it's the spark that led to the shooting later that night. Suge's role here is clear. He's not just a bystander, he's in the thick of it, escalating tensions with a rival gang.
Just 3 days after the awards, Tupac and others attack an LA gang member in a hotel lobby after a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas. Believed to be in response to an earlier assault against someone affiliated with Death Row, the attack will land Death Row head Suge Knight in jail, and according to some police reports, lead to Tupac being shot less than 3 hours later.
Fast forward to 10:55 p.m. Tupac and Suge leave Suge's Vegas mansion, headed to Club 662, a Death Row-owned spot where Tupac's set to perform. They're in a black BMW, Suge driving, Tupac in the passenger seat, no bodyguards in their car. This is unusual. Tupac's bodyguard, Frank Alexander, later said Tupac asked him to drive in another car instead, a decision that left them exposed. Why no security? Some speculate Suge wanted Tupac vulnerable, but there's no hard evidence for this. Still, it's a question that lingers. At 11:15 p.m., at the intersection of Flamingo Road and Koval Lane, a white Cadillac pulls up beside the BMW. Gunshots erupt, at least 12 rounds from a .40 caliber Glock. Tupac is hit 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thigh. Suge, grazed by a bullet, speeds away, eventually pulling over a mile away. Police and paramedics rush Tupac to University Medical Center, where he clings to life. Suge, despite his injury, survives with minor wounds. The question is, was Suge just lucky, or was he meant to survive?
Pac saved my life. The reason why I say Pac saved my life, I got shot in the head, got grazed some other places, but I still got the bullet in my head. It's still there. But for as trying to get him to the hospital, didn't make me realize that I was shot. Because usually when you get shot in the head, the first thing the person do is panic. You know, bam, I'm shot in the head, I'm about to die. You know. And once you do that, you can't drive nowhere. My whole thing was, Pac, he was shot. I'm like, you shot? I'm finna get you to the hospital. I'm driving, telling him I'm finna get to the hospital, kick back. Pac looked at me and said, you know what? You need the doctor more than me. You the one shot in your head. And we laughed the whole time going to find our way to the hospital. That's the conversation we had. It wasn't, Pac was a man the whole time. It wasn't that he was like, oh, I'm shot. He cracking jokes. He like, yeah, they shot me. He said, but you shot in your head. Look at your head bleed. Look how much it's bleed. That was Pac.
Now, let's dig into the theories about Suge's role. Theory 1. Suge was a target alongside Tupac. Prosecutors later alleged that Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, a Crips leader, orchestrated the shooting as retaliation for the MGM brawl, targeting both Tupac and Suge. Keefe D. claimed in 2009 interviews that he was in the Cadillac, with his nephew Orlando Anderson possibly firing the shots. This theory suggests Suge was caught in the crossfire of gang warfare, as Death Row was tied to the Mob Piru Bloods, rivals of the Crips. Suge himself said, "I wouldn't wish prison on my worst enemy," when asked about Keefe D, hinting he didn't believe Keefe acted alone.
When we pulled up, I was in the front seat. Happened to see my friend, Suge.
Suge looks over, he sees you.
Yeah.
He looks right at you.
Yeah, he looked at me.
You said the shots came from the back. Big Dre, Orlando. Who shot Tupac?
They keep it for the code of the streets. It just came from the back seat, bro.
Theory 2. Suge orchestrated Tupac's death. This is where things get murky. Some, including former LAPD detective Russell Poole, speculated Suge wanted Tupac out of the way to avoid paying him millions because Tupac planned to leave Death Row. In 2017, Suge's attorney claimed he knew Reggie Wright Jr., Death Row's head of security, and his ex-wife, Sharitha, were behind the hit, with Suge as the real target to seize control of the label. But this affidavit lacks corroboration, and Suge's credibility is shaky. He's even suggested Tupac faked his death. Critics like author Kathy Scott dismiss this, arguing it's illogical for Suge to set up a hit while sitting in the line of fire.
It was a rat on television saying he the one did the shooting, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened, right?
Right.
If you think about it, right?
Right.
Why you think nobody been arrested if they said they the one killed Tupac? Because Tupac not
Ain't
dead.
as smart as you should be.
Tupac not dead. If he was dead, they'd be arresting those dudes for murder. You know he's somewhere smoking a Cuban cigar on the island somewhere, you know what I mean?
Theory 3. Suge was complicit, but not the mastermind. Some point to Suge's ties to corrupt LAPD officers, a theory explored by Detective Greg Kading. Kading's 2011 book Murder Rap claims Keefe D confessed that Bad Boy Records, led by Sean Diddy Combs, offered the Crips $1 million to kill Tupac and Suge. Suge's survival and his refusal to cooperate with police fueled suspicion. Witnesses, including Tupac's bodyguard, noted the death row convoy didn't help investigators, and Suge drove a mile despite a flat tire, delaying aid. Yet, no concrete evidence ties Suge directly to a plot, and Diddy has never been named a suspect.
Things are not looking good for Sean Diddy Combs. In addition to lawsuits, raids, federal investigation, and a secret grand jury, the only living suspect in Tupac Shakur's murder now implicates Puff Daddy in the September 7, 1996 drive-by shooting. A recent court filing for Dwayne Keefe D. Davis' upcoming murder trial mentions Puffy 77 times. While Vegas police confirm that Combs has never been and is not a suspect, the mogul's silence is deafening.
It was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
By midnight, Tupac's in the ICU, fighting for his life. Suge, treated for his grazed wound, is questioned but offers little. Over the next 6 days, Tupac's condition deteriorates, and on September 13th, 1996, he dies at 25. Suge actions, post-shooting like his 1997 prison sentence for violating probation over the MGM brawl, keep him in the spotlight. Decades later, Suge made conflicting claims, from accusing Snoop Dogg of involvement to denying Keefe D's nephew was the shooter. These inconsistencies, plus his gang ties, keep the speculation alive.
So Suge, I gotta ask you, and shout out to Snoop, I don't got no issue with Snoop, but every time I ask you about Snoop, you always bring up Vegas. And from what I get from it is, you feel like Snoop knew what was going to happen to Tupac in Vegas. Can you speak on that, if you don't mind? Like, go more into detail?
So, it wasn't no need for Snoop to have a radio. That was surprising. So, when Warren says he heard the shots, he heard everything was going on, and when everybody said they heard him say they got him, that's not just a red flag. That's a fact. That somebody involved with something they shouldn't have been in, and they had a radio they shouldn't have had. So that was the first thing. Then Corrupt, they interviewed Corrupt, and Corrupt says Snoop had the meeting and said, we're not going to Vegas. So they weren't going to Louisville, so that's basically saying like something's going to happen. And then Nate Dogg says, I'm going to Vegas. I don't got to be around those niggas. That's his exact words. I can be here, I can be there, long as I don't be around them. Basically saying if long as I'm not standing next to Tupac or me, he'll have to worry about a straight bullet getting him. No other way. And the fact that not only did he not come to the hospital, not one of those people, them people, whatever you want to call them, did not do a song with Tupac. We put out 2 albums after Tupac was gone. Snoop not on one. Snoop did his album. You probably guys don't remember. He did that album on his own. What was the Dogfather? It's not a Pac verse on that one. And he have lots of them to pick from. Not a one. When Tupac got a star on Hollywood Walk of Fame, not one of those individuals, them people, did not come. So you can go up there and accept the award for Pac, act like y'all was close, but y'all was enemies at that time.
So, what's the truth? Was Suge a victim, a conspirator, or just a man caught in a deadly feud? The 2023 arrest of Keefe D, charged with Tupac's murder, points to gang retaliation, but questions remain. Suge's role, whether as a loyal friend or a cunning player, remains one of hip-hop's biggest mysteries. His silence, his survival, and his empire's collapse only deepen the enigma. What do you think? Was Suge Knight a pawn or a king in Tupac's final hours? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Rest in peace, Tupac.
You're looking at the plug